When were you on the Knights? I was on 1956 to 1958. And some of the people I played with was Carol Cunningham, Rick Bell, Ronnie Bretz, Bob Richardson, Frank Sibley, David Sibley. So, you don't want to hear all the names, but there were some good ones. Some of the more memorable jobs we played, every job was memorable because there weren't all that many of them, I think one of the funny stories was a bus story when we were out on the trip, and they had bunks in the back, and Rick Bell would go back there and sleep on the way to the job, and so there was a particularly rough stretch of road that the bus was bouncing over and all kinds of potholes, and all of a sudden we hear this little weak voice from the back shout out, "When you come to a road, take it." So what were some of your favorite charts to play? Oh, I liked them all, they were all fun. I guess the one I really enjoyed was Marion Evans' stuff, and particularly his Slaughter on 10th Avenue. That was a great piece. It doesn't get played much because it's very difficult, but it's a good piece. Let's see. When did I start coming to playing at Knights reunions? Somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s, because 1980 was the 50th anniversary reunion, and I think I came a year before that, but I've been coming every year since then. And some of the people you played with, you mean at the reunions?
Sure.
Anything?
Yeah.
Well, there was just Bob Greenhaw, Rick, of course, Hagen.
If you would share that story you told last night about Bob Richardson, how he came back and the influence he had.
Okay. Bob had played bass on the late 40s band. I guess he probably graduated about 1949, somewhere in there. He married the band singer, Faith Gibson, and moved back to Atlanta and worked in the insurance business for several years. And then about 1955, he took a position in the music department as an associate professor or whatever type it was. And he came back to Auburn at that point. But two things had changed when he came back. He was no longer a bass player, he's now a piano player. And secondly, he was a devoted, dedicated fan of Count Basie and the Count Basie Band. And he loved to talk about the importance of time in playing, not how high you could play, how loud or how fast you could play, it was how accurately you could play the time. And the band at that time were all fans of Woody Herman and Les Brown and Tommy Dorsey and those bands. And they didn't particularly have that much interest in Count Basie, but Bob kept talking and kept talking, and he wrote that arrangement that we played last night, and that was his first arrangement after he got back, and it was written in the Basie style. The band loved it, and he named it, it was original, he named it after Carol Cunningham, and Carol had this piece called Carol's Count, so Bob called his piece Count's Carol, so that was the beginning of the band's affection with Count Basie and enjoyment and appreciation of Count Basie.
Okay.